wonderful show. We are here on a Thursday. It's a snow day. We were supposed to have a big blizzard, and it wasn't a big blizzard here in the Springs. But so I'm off, and I'm filming a show today. I think it's a good day to do it. So we've been talking about God-given rights. There are things in life that basically God ordained to be the way they are. It's His will, it's His way. And one thing is protection of ourselves, protection of our private property, and to be able to own private property and to be able to have that value in our lives. And one thing that's a hot topic right now is something called assault weapons, which is it's like a trigger word. And it's one of those things that it's like a scary thing. Ooh, the assault weapons, the weapons of war. Like, what weapons are not for war? Like, that's what weapons are anyway, right? And what is war? It's like it's a battle between two different entities or whatever. So if you get robbed in your house and you fist fight the guy to get him out, that's a war. So your fists are weapons of war, right? So it's what you use the tool for. You could use a fork if you had to as a weapon of war. If you put food in your mouth and chew it, is that violence? I mean, it depends on what you're doing with the tool. So let's get into this. In 1994, the assault weapons ban was enacted during the Clinton administration. All right, so they wanted to ban purchasing new assault weapons, right? The law, according to Mike Cooper at PolicyMike.com, defined an assault weapon as any semi-automatic rifle with a detachable magazine and at least two of the following 5 items, all right? So it had to have 2 of these items: a folding or collapsible or telescoping stock, a pistol grip that protruded conspicuously beneath the action of the weapon. It's conspicuously. A bayonet mount, okay? So you could put a knife on there, a bayonet thing. A flash suppressor or a threaded barrel. If it had a threaded barrel, that could help it become an assault weapon. Or a grenade launcher. So pretty much none of these items, except the grenade launcher, make the weapon more lethal. How is a threaded barrel make the weapon more lethal? It doesn't, right? So it just makes it look menacing, and that's the point. That's the point of these assault weapon things. It's a scare tactic. In 1986, the federal government banned the sale or transfer of new machine guns to civilians, which is unconstitutional because we have the right to bear arms and laws cannot infringe that. They should not do that. The government's there to protect our rights, not infringe upon them. Our founders knew technology would change and develop over time, and so we need what is common for the day. So what is the common weapon for the day? That's the weapon we need. Now, do we need to have a tank? Maybe. I don't know that anybody could afford or would want or could store a tank, but in order to defend ourselves, we need to have the weapons available. So, according to a 1988 report by the Violence Policy Center, an anti-gun lobby, the weapon's menacing look, we're talking about assault weapons like an AR-15, is what they're calling an assault weapon, right? The weapon's menacing look, coupled with the public's confusion over fully automatic machine guns versus semi-automatic assault weapons. So fully automatic is where you hold the trigger and it fires. Semi-automatic is where you have to pull the trigger each time. There is no such thing as fully semi-automatic, right? It's just goofiness. People don't even know what they're talking about. Anything that looks like a machine gun is assumed to be a machine gun is kind of the logic here. So the assault weapons ban defined assault weapons as a semi-automatic firearm that shared too many cosmetic features with their fully automatic counterparts. Now, this is a report from the Violence Policy Center. So an assault weapon is a semi-automatic weapon or fully semi-automatic weapon to some people that shares cosmetic features as a machine gun, like a military weapon. The AR-15 is not a military weapon. It's just like a replica of one, So it has similar features. So like that's like saying you dress your truck up to look like a tank and now it's an assault truck. It's not a tank. It doesn't have the ability to be a tank. It just has features like a tank. That's stupid, right? That's kind of the logic we're going at here. On September 13th, 1994, the assault weapons ban went into effect. The Washington Post editorial published 2 days later was candid about the ban's real purpose, and here's what they said. No one should have any illusions about what was accomplished by the ban. Assault weapons play a part in only a small percentage of crime. The provision is mainly symbolic. Its virtue will be, if it turns out to be as hoped, a stepping stone to a broader gun control. So the assault weapons ban was an attempt to start more gun control legislation. That's always the point. Any type of gun control, anything, is trying to slowly chip away at freedoms and gun rights. That's all this is about. And so we're seeing, like, I'm reading old reports on purpose because this is not something that's new that we're seeing these presidential candidates talk about. This is something that's been going on for a long time, and they're just chiseling away at rights. Okay, so we need to be aware that this is something that's been going on for a while, and it's still going on today. In 2004, the assault weapons ban expired, all right, and it was not renewed, and it failed to have an impact on gun crime in the United States. That's part of that article. A 2004 Department of Justice report concluded the ban's effect on gun violence are likely to be small at best and perhaps too small for a reliable measurement. Assault weapons are rarely used in gun crimes even before the ban, and that's still true today. The news only talks about assault weapons, and they don't talk about any handgun violence, and they only talk about when it happens at a school or a church or a nightclub or something. They don't talk about when it happens day to day in like cities like Chicago. Okay, so Bill Clinton wrote that Democrats lost control of the Congress in 1994 midterm elections because of the assault weapons ban. And other Democrats have stated that the assault weapons ban may have cost Al Gore the 2000 presidential election. Well, besides his looniness, that could have helped. The FBI data shows that 323 murders were committed with rifles of any kind in 2011. All right? 323 murders were committed with rifles. In comparison, 496 murders were committed with hammers and clubs. Almost 1,700 murders were perpetrated with knives. Wow. Almost 1,700. 1,694 is the number I got on this from this article. Why are we not banning knives like London? Because knives are killing so many people. Okay? Currently, Democrats in the House are attempting to push a new assault weapons ban, but it failed because the Dems in like red counties, they fear not getting reelected. And I think this is awesome. This is a victory for our republic. Like, when our politicians don't act because they're in fear of the voters, that's good. Sometimes no legislation is better than legislation. So the Twitter hashtag do something has captured the mounting public demands for Congress to act. So do something is referring to do something about guns because people got shot. So here's the problem. We have a Congress that has way too much power, and they're taking away our freedoms, and they've reduced punishments for crimes. Like when you murder someone, you used to get the death penalty. It's even in the Bible. If you read like Exodus chapter 19, or I think it talks about if you murder, you basically are put to death, right? Murder is different than self-defense, right? So we've softened the penalty for crime, so now it's just a slap on the wrist versus something that's actually going to make us change, So Congress tries to fix problems, and all they do is chip away at our freedoms. Have you noticed that? Their solution to our problems is to remove freedoms from people, punish good people because there's a few bad people. And then they wonder why things get worse. So when that happens, then when the plan fails, the planners plan another plan at the price of our freedom. Remember the Patriot Act. That's all that was. That was chipping away at our freedoms and giving them the freedom, giving government the freedom to basically spy on anybody and consider everybody a terrorist. Okay, so all Congress would do is legislate away our freedoms in an attempt to free us from a problem that we should be solving. You know, as citizens, our government is by the people for the people, right? We're supposed to be just the average person living a life in America, maybe go serve in government for a few years and come back and live our life again. And now we have lifetime politicians and things in government, and it's not intended to be that. And they have too much power. We've given too much away. It's about us. It's not about them. They're not our leaders. They are our servants who fulfill the will of the people, right? So they have taken too much power, and we've let that happen. They're solving the problems that we should be solving. We should not be dependent on a police officer coming to our house to protect us. We should be responsible for protecting our family. It's huge. We need to get back to this. It's not the cop's job to protect me and my family. It's my job. And we need to get back to that. And we have too much legislation in the way, and I'm running out of time. If we, the people, have the freedom to defend ourselves, we need to get trained, and we could use the skills we have to defend ourselves. And we don't need Congress to do anything. We don't need Congress to create these laws to protect us when we can do it ourselves. Criminals would be scared to act because they wouldn't know who is armed. If we were all trained and armed, there would be a lot less crime out there. We don't need government to solve our problems and take care of us. The bottom line is, rifles built to look like machine guns look scary, so they must be banned. That's the bottom line. They're a model, even BB guns and pellet guns are made to look like an AR-15. Should we ban those too just because they look bad? I don't think so. The point here is we aren't children, and Congress is not our parents, all right? We're adults. So let's act like it, and let's take our freedoms and our rights back and not let this crazy government system crush our freedom. Let's not let tyranny take us out, all right? So I challenge everybody to get educated and go out there and make a difference. Let your voice be heard, and don't be afraid to stand up for your rights, because it's now or never. It's now or never. Thank you very much.